Hey guys, Tim from Tierphone here. I just wanted to give a quick rundown on my personal SK build. Some people have been asking to give some detail on what went into it and how I achieved the look. So I just wanted to give a quick rundown. This was actually my first SK build, and a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them that. But this didn't happen overnight, right? So this was an ongoing build. It took me a month or two to finish. This is a Korbanth Starkiller base, but a lot of mods have gone into this. It's a Profi. It's been weathered extensively. There's some battle scarring on the control board. There's some battle scarring on the glass eye or red button, what was a red button knob. With a lot of sabersmiths, the weathering process, probably the weathering process and the crystal chamber builds are always my favorite parts, because in my opinion, weathering a saber is almost like an artist working on a blank canvas. I have a general idea of what I want the hilt to look like, but as you go, it just kind of evolves into something, and you tell a story through the weathering process, and you tell a story through the crystal chamber. So yeah, those are always my favorite parts of the build. Weathering was done with some aluminum black. I also put some rust. Unfortunately, you can't really see the rust marks with this lighting. Maybe if I turn the light off. Nope, that won't do that. Nope. So there's some rust. I mean, brand new sabers look cool and all, but in my opinion, a lightsaber is a weapon that's been used, and it should look that way, right? It should look like it's been on a Jedi's belt clip and dropped and in battle. So I feel like they should look that way. There are Graflex pins in this. I actually put some, you can't see it in this lighting. I painted some oxidization on these as well. So there's some green. It looks like it's been outside for a little while. Yeah, lots of rust, cool rust accents on this. It just really looks dynamic, and it looks like it's been used and put through the ringer. The emitter section, okay? I get a lot of flack for this, and I've been meaning to redo this. This is actually a painted emitter. With the Korbanth kits, the emitter section is aluminum, and you can't remove it and heat treat it or heat stain it. I did this with regular acrylic paint before I found out about Tamiya's weathering pigments. This is a little extra. It just doesn't look right in my opinion. So I've been meaning to redo this. Unfortunately, the only way to do that, right, is to remove this section, and that is a huge pain in the ass. Because I'll have to remove the switch box, the activation box, and some other stuff. So I've been putting that off for now, but we'll get around to doing that at some point. It just kind of looks extra, right? It just looks like it doesn't belong, in my opinion. So yeah, Korbanth ships this with, I think it's a red eye or a red gem or whatever, red glass eye. I replaced it with a clear one, but that's still removable. This is a Graflex glass eye that I replaced with a piece of beach glass. This is actually beach glass orb. And again, like I try to put detailed, unique stuff like that in my builds just to make them different and one of a kind, right? So now we're going to get around to the crystal chamber. This crystal chamber, man. What an undertaking that was. So Korbanth ships it with a regular aluminum crystal holders with just a spun aluminum pin that goes down into whatever crystal you want to put in it. All SK builds, in my opinion, the real estate that is in these crystal chambers is never used to its full potential, right? I mean, you've got this whole section to show off your capability as a Jedi or your capability as a sabersmith, and you know, it's just left with one little baby crystal, or you know, you could put a large crystal in there, but I wanted to put more detail in there, right? So probably went a little overboard, but this is a Shtok Crystal Chamber brass kit that's available on his Shapeways. I had to fabricate aluminum holders for both the top and the bottom, so those parts would fit there, and getting the crystal in there was a little difficult, right? So you can't, the clearance for having the crystal the way it is sitting in this crystal holder is I had to actually install the Shtoks loose, open them up a little bit, put my crystal in, and press fit them down into the crystal, all the while having everything pre-wired so that once I made the adequate connection to that crystal, it was there. It's there. So once that's done, you know, it's kind of a leap of faith, because should you finish wiring everything up and one of the Neos doesn't light, you're not going to get it out of there without doing some damage, right? And luckily for me, everything was wired correctly. So you got to be really confident in your soldering skills when you do a build like this. Otherwise, you're going to have to start doing things twice, and nobody likes doing that, right? So those are Shtok Crystal Chamber pieces, but on top of that, I added my own found object accents. So on the Shtok holders, I've got some copper and some brass. I like to make, you know, my own. What I do is I take some, you know, 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter copper tubing, and then I either attach some very small gauge guitar string, or I sand down some copper to make it look like it's making a connection into the crystal itself. It's hard to not see it. It's hard to see it on the camera here, but in person it looks really cool. I feel like it makes it more unique. I take, you know, everything from old watch parts to just stuff that I fabricate myself, and I put it in the builds. Also with this build, I added some square and rectangular LED accents to the crystal chamber themselves, and those are all wired separately as blades. Korbanth also includes some aluminum gate or aluminum bars to go in front of the crystal chamber. Again, with the aluminum, unfortunately, you can't heat stain it. And I really like to heat stain my stuff. It makes it look like, you know, this crystal has seen use. It looks like this crystal has been emanating some heat radiation. So I got I cut my own, these are just steel rods, and I heat stained those as well, just to make it look like it's been used. Control boxes got dome tactiles. I really love those. I try to use those whenever I can. So this chassis, yeah, I've gotten into making my own chassis, but when I did this build, this was a purchased chassis from an Etsy seller, and this has seen better days. But this was a custom chassis that I painted to make it look like it had some electronics in there. I think I added like some wiring, just to make it look like it was an actual in-use chassis and not just a blank rod. I also added some accent LEDs to the chassis so that can be seen on the shine through the grip section, and we'll show that when I activate it. Battery, or the speaker, I think this is a 28 millimeter speaker in here that just attaches to the chassis itself. Kill switch is there. Just your run-of-the-mill Starkiller build, except for some some custom stuff that I did. Yeah.
You hard to get rid of.
Really, really like this, man. I love this. You know, being my first SK build, it was a pleasure to work on. I got a blade plug in there too. Yeah. That's it. That's my SK build. If you guys have any questions about what I did to the build, or if you need any help, I'm always willing to give people help. I'm pretty active on the Lightsaber Discord. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you want. If not, that's cool. May the Force be with you.